What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Somewhat Sports Podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm joined by two of the greats in this industry. Jurgen, Dame, fellas, how are we this week?
I guess I'll go first today for a change, but still nothing's changed with me. It's still here. I am. Um, yeah, I'm happy the Jets are playing this week. Finally, it
This is
was
the
it was
first
weird
time
not
I ever
watching.
heard that, yeah.
It was weird not watching the Jets this week. Not gonna lie, it was some good football though, but it was just weird not having a second TV in Manny's house watching the Jets game.
Love the energy, boys. Love the energy. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's a beautiful nighttime. It's cold as all living hell. We missed those 65, 70 degree days that were like 10 days ago before this global warming is clearly failing us now. But I'm good. Like I always say, I'm happy to be on. I'm happy to be on. Happy to record with my brothers, and happy for us to talk more sports this week. It's the best. It's the highlight of my week because I don't have much else going for me.
Yeah, so to all the listeners listening, the order in which we kind of went in terms of how we spent our week this week, we took a relatively long time to decide who's going to go first for literally no reason. This is the most unimportant shit, but we wanted to try out a new format of Dame's uninspiring answers going first, so he doesn't have to top off Jurg because he can't top off Jurg. But yeah, that's not what we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about sports. 'Cause that's what we do. Anyway, yeah. So, relatively decent week of news. I think today for like a specific team in the NBA, a bunch of news came out. And then ours truly, Jurg, came up with an idea and we were just like, yeah, let's go for it. MLB offseason, free agents hitting the market, re-signings, signings to new teams, the whole 9 yards. So our two boys, Jurg and Dame, will be doing their predictions on who's going to end up where. We're going to talk about some NBA stuff, a particular player within a particular team who's been a particular dumpster fire in the NBA. We're going to end off with clowns and crowns for NFL Week 10, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's a rundown. NBA, MLB, crowns and clowns, or clowns and crowns, however you want to put it. But yeah, guys, let's start off with NBA news. Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets are in our timeline once again. Fellas, I believe a report came out from The Athletic saying that the Nets organization is, for lack of a better term, discouraged by Ben Simmons' on-court play, his off-court determination, his motivation, just turned off by Ben Simmons, the player. Or he could even be the human being at that point. Who knows? But they are just, I guess, I don't know what the exact wordage was, but basically they don't have that much faith in Ben Simmons, for lack of a better phrase. But they're starting to lose patience with him. And guys, I can't help but relish and be happy about the Nets collapsing day by day, night by night. Now, when I read this article about the Nets kind of losing faith in Ben Simmons or just being frustrated at him, is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised? The thing is, I mean, look, I think I can speak for all of us, and any of you could jump in, is that we all thought Ben Simmons would be a lot better than how he's played so far this season. Before the trade for Harden happened, Dame, I think you were on record saying he would be a perfect fit next to KD and Kyrie. I thought it would also be a decent fit because he would make up for what they lacked in on the defensive end, and he would take away some of their playmaking responsibilities. So I was like, all right, okay, he doesn't necessarily, he doesn't need to be the scorer. He doesn't need to be the guy, but he would need the ball in his hands because that's where he's most effective in. However, it has not worked out. Kyrie has gone somewhere. I have no idea, nor do I care. The less I see of that man, the better. Ben Simmons has just been a disappointment and a failure, and it's kind of just KD and co. For the Nets this season. So, he's been a disappointment play wise, character wise. I think we all kind of expected this from Ben Simmons. Like, he just lackluster. He looks like a piece of shit. His work ethic looks meh. You would think a change of scenery and going next to a superstar like KD would kind of shift the tides a little bit and kind of motivate him a little bit more. But he's always had like diva instincts, and I gotta give credit to Dame since like 2016 when he got drafted. He's been on that board. It was just like Ben Simmons being a diva. So you're right, Dame.
I
He
mean,
is kind of
usually am, bro. You don't
okay.
gotta announce it.
I'm just giving you your flowers, bro. Just take them. So I think, yeah, Ben Simmons is kind of a diva. He's a little bitch. It's just he doesn't have. It sounds corny, but he doesn't have the drive. It's clear that he doesn't want to improve. I don't think it's healthy for him to be in Brooklyn because all the eyes are kind of on him because they're kind of in the media for the wrong reasons, not for the right reasons. But like the Nets have been in the media for the wrong reasons, and he's been in the media because of a lot of things, a lot of external factors within him individually. I don't know. Can we even trade Ben Simmons at this point? Who's going to take Ben Simmons? I
Who
believe he
wants
has
him?
exactly, and he also has 3 years left in his contract. Where is Ben Simmons going to go? Because I was looking at like other teams and like possible trade partners, like we like to do on this podcast. Do you guys have like any trade partners for Ben Simmons? I don't give me the Lakers. Do not give me the Lakers
I don't even
because I
think
don't.
they're
And
involved.
plus, I don't think the Nets would ship him off for peanuts, for scraps. I think they would, as crazy as it sounds, I think they want like something back, like a blue collar, no, a blue chipper in return. And you would be like, wow, I don't know if Ben Simmons can net you that, but I think the Nets are going to probably value him highly because they don't want to lose him for nothing because they traded James Harden for him. And I get it, you had to get something back for James Harden because that dude is just out the door. But it's just weird. So Jerk, let me start off with you. What do you make of this whole situation with Ben Simmons? While I look up the NBA teams that could be possible trade partners.
Just off the side, could who would have thought that a trade where a superstar went to one team and an all-star defensive player of the year candidate went to the other, that both sides would have lost that deal? You would have never thought it.
That's true.
It's wild. With Ben Simmons specifically, it's not necessarily a surprise. Like when I saw the headline about internally that the Nets were extremely frustrated with Ben Simmons, I also thought, okay, and the sun's going to rise up tomorrow, and the sky is blue right now, which the sky was blue at the time. Like it's it's not a surprise. You guys have said it best. I tend to try to stay away from like terms of calling a guy a diva, but I think it's even worse. I just think he doesn't have the work ethic, he doesn't have the drive, and he just doesn't have the instinct to want to press his game to the next level. Like this kind of started back in college, really, for Simmons. This whole
Yeah.
notion around him, because remember he went to Montverde and he was the top prospect, and like this is part of the reason why people want to decrease the age for the NBA draft entering, which uh, until this LeBron James' son is coming out soon, so maybe that's the only thing that'll get to change. But aside from that, none of these other guys are going to get that exception. And Ben has been one of those guys where it's like when he was a senior high school, people were like, "Oh, why? It's a waste of time for him to go to college," and he treated that like a waste of time. He went to LSU, did not give a singular hell in the world. Like other guys had decent seasons, but like from day one there, he was going to be the first overall pick, and even people forget LSU declined going to the NIT, and I think part of it was because I think Ben Simmons had maybe said that he wasn't going to play in the NIT at all. So I might be misremembering that, and if I am, like I don't mean to paint him in a worse light, but there was some issue with LSU not going because they were invited to the NIT. It's an invitational tournament. They were invited. Why the hell would you not go to the tournament if you were invited? It's more games for your season. It's a chance to maybe build progress for the program. That's how important it is in the collegiate athletic level. And the fact they didn't do that, why is that? Is it because their number one star recruit wasn't going to play that year? I would probably venture the guess so. Um, and he's had that attitude since. Missed what would have been his rookie year, came in great rookie season, won rookie of the year, important piece to a team that had long playoff aspirations. I was actually having this conversation earlier today, funny enough. I think where it all fell off for Ben Simmons was after the 2019 second round series against the 76ers. And
Wait. What series was that?
against the Raptors, remember the Kawhi shot?
Okay. 'Cause you said the Sixers. I was like, wait, what?
My bad. For the
You're-
Sixers against the Raptors.
Gotcha.
I think things fell off there because remember, that's when Jimmy Butler left. That's when Tobias Harris got extended. And I think around that time is when the Ben Simmons also got his deal. So, or at least there was a talk about giving him his max contract as well. So once Jimmy left, the onus once again fell on Simmons to be the second guy in the franchise. Next to Embiid. And there was still a little bit of questions about Embiid, but those were starting to get answered like when it was becoming more clear and clear that Embiid was going to be the face of the franchise. And it was clear that Simmons had to try to become the number two. And I don't think Ben Simmons, despite the natural ability he has, despite his natural playmaking skills, despite the fact that this podcast said it itself before that complete meltdown against the Atlanta Hawks. Like we all said that year, Ben Simmons probably should have been the defensive player of the year. 2 out of 3 of us specifically were very heated that Rudy Gobert won. Actually, maybe the entire podcast was. Like it. This guy is supremely talented. We've seen him be talented. I think he's a multi-time All-Star. He is just in terms of natural gifts, boys. I think his basketball IQ, his defensive abilities, his height, his ability to go at the rim. I think he has the talent and he has the natural skill. He should have been a top 10 player in the league, and he's not that, and he's nowhere near that. And I don't think he's ever going to get close to that because mentally he's put the block on himself. And I I don't know what to say. I understand that like no, I really don't because I understand that maybe Philadelphia like withdrawing their support on you right as soon as the series ended, your coach going against you that publicly, you the superstar of your team going against you publicly, like throwing shots at him. Like at the end of the day, I can understand you wanting to leave that situation, but you got to put up or shut up when you get your way out of there. And he's done nothing. He's literally done nothing. And it stemmed from last season where there was the rumors that he could have played it late in the season or the playoffs, and he just didn't. And now this as well. I can't anymore with this guy. I'm not surprised. I can't. I'm not. I'm. I'm not even going to say disappointed because I think we're all past the disappointment thing with Simmons. I legitimately think we are. I just think it's become a much more subdued version of Kyrie, where you see him in the headlines and it's like, oh, this clown again. Really, what's he in the news for now? That's how I feel about Ben Simmons at this point, and it shouldn't be the case for a guy who I think he even said he's looking forward to playing on Australia's Olympic team in the next Olympics. So that's my answer to you, Chris. Where is he going to play after this Nets tenure? He's going to play in the NBL in Australia. Because why the hell would an NBA team want this guy at this point? Why? Like he clearly doesn't care about basketball. And it's one thing when you are an idiot like Kyrie, but he actually at least cares about the game and he could do stuff. Ben Simmons just chooses not to be the best player possible. I don't want that on my team. I'm not saying he's toxic. I'm saying that he's put that block on himself, and there's no reason for me to want you in my locker room anymore. So please get out. And I think Kevin Durant's gonna be hella happy when he's not on the team anymore. I'm serious. Like I'm done with it. That's all I got to say about it.
He's just not likable. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't seem like a likable dude. This is why like I have zero sympathy for him. And like there has been some shit personally that he's had to deal with. So that I feel sympathy for. But just him as a human being, I don't know, man. Like I remember watching. I don't know if you guys saw him on JJ Redick's podcast or saw a clip.
Yeah, I did.
He was making like a lot of excuses as to like why some shit happened or like why things went the way they did. I'm like, brother, some accountability, please, bro. I mean, I think he took like a modicum of it, but like I don't know. It was just I don't think he like held himself as accountable as he should have. There's something about Ben Simmons that just irritates me.
The highlight of his appearance on that pod also was him explaining what happened with that play.
The Trey Young dunk, right?
Yeah, well, the should have been dunk, but
Oh yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, he's like, oh, I remember. He was like, yeah, well, I'm not the only one that didn't make. Guys didn't make plays either. It wasn't just like everything wasn't just my fault. I'm like, all right, man, all right. It's there's no winning with him. But yeah, I don't know, nor do I care. Dame, your thoughts?
Jerry wouldn't do it, but I'll say he is a diva. He's definitely not a likable guy. I've seen this since, like Chris mentioned, 2016. Just watching him in college, just the way he didn't care, and like Jerry mentioned, like he wasn't gonna play in the NIT tournament or whatever tournament they were gonna get into. Like he just wasn't having it. He was just ready to pack his shit and go to NBA. Just showed he didn't care about the guys around him because although he might have been locked for a first pick because how talented he is, there's other guys on that team that worked their ass off to get to a point where they were. And if they had a chance to play in the tournament, that'd be more eyes on them, more scouts watching them, and they maybe would have had a chance to go to NBA. So he's a selfish prick for that. But also I saw him at the Dick's Classic at Christ the King, and I just can notice the way he walks around that he thinks he's hot shit, and he's just not a likable guy. And from that moment, just seeing the way he tries, like how fans try to interact with him, and how he's just not having it, not even being like respectful about it. I just knew from then, from gathering these little things here and there, that this guy just is a scumbag and was going to be a scumbag going forward. That's just what his personality is. But as from him on the Nets now, he's definitely a diva. He's really approaching that Russell Westbrook stage in his career. Well, it's specific to Russell Westbrook where literally no one wants him. Your team doesn't want you. Your teammates don't like playing with you. No one wants to trade for you. You're not even like a negative asset. You're worse than that. No one wants to even take first round picks to take you on. And honestly, your future's in question in the NBA because you might be more likely to play outside the NBA in a different country, a different league, than play for a different team in the NBA than your current team now. But for the Nets, yeah, when it first happened, I thought it'd be a pretty good fit. I mean, why not to get Kyrie off the ball? He's not really a true point guard. He kind of is a point guard because of his height, but like he's not a playmaker. On the other hand, Ben Simmons is. The team lacks defense, and Ben Simmons is an all NBA defender that can guard all five positions. So at the time, it really made sense. But then just seeing the way that second half of the season went on and how he still didn't play any games and how, to me, he was faking an injury and just didn't feel like playing. I just knew it was going to be a disaster going into the season, especially with the drama the Nets already had this offseason with KD requesting the trade, all the Kyrie stuff, and then just adding Ben Simmons to that mix, it just wasn't going to be it. I mean, the guy, I think now is averaging like 4 fouls a game and like 5 or 6 points. Like, I don't care how much of a playmaker or defender you are. Like, at 6'10" as a point guard or a guard, you should not be averaging 6 points, especially how young and athletic he is. He should be getting 6 points on the break alone, if not more than that. But yeah, it's a mess. I don't know how they're gonna get out of him or what he's gonna do because I mean, clearly he just is not interested in anything and has, I don't know, no accountability for himself and just wants to blame everybody else other than himself. Like, bro, just get to work, fix your mindset, buy into the team aspect of basketball and the brotherhood and stuff like that. And I promise you things will work out. But no, he's just so selfish and so self-centered that he just can't look in the mirror and blame himself for his struggles and his mentality and his work ethic. He just wants to go blame everyone else, blame the media, blame everything else around basketball other than himself. So I don't feel sorry for him. He can go fuck himself, to be honest. Kind of feel bad for KD. If I had to feel bad for anybody that he has to deal with this shit, because he kind of has to defend Kyrie at this point because that's like his best friend, but he has no reason to defend Ben Simmons, and he just has to deal with that and Kyrie on the side. So, don't feel bad for Nets though. Scumbag organization. If
What a
they lose,
rant!
they lose. But yeah,
Wow.
Who would have thought in an organization with Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons after everything that's happened, Kevin Durant's become the most likable guy in that organization.
yeah.
I
Bar is low, man. The bar is low. So I'm looking at the teams right now, right? All NBA teams at the moment. Celtics no, obviously not the Nets. Knicks no, Sixers no, Raptors no. I don't think Raptors like to deal with headaches like that.
They're not desperate.
They have other things they think they want to focus on. Chicago Bulls I can't really see. Um Cavs no. Pistons no, you kind of already have Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. I don't think they don't. The Pistons are good where they're at. You know, they're gonna suck for a little bit, but they're good where they're at. They don't need that. They don't need Ben Simmons. Pacers no. Bucks no. Hawks no. Miami Heat no.
Fuck no.
Wow,
Keep
sorry.
keep keep him away from my team.
Bro, you're
Magic. I
wasting
don't.
your breath here. Nobody wants this guy.
No, no, no. But I'm seeing possible teams now. So there's three teams off rip that I could possibly see. It's the Charlotte Hornets,
Jesus.
the
Well, they're
Dallas
just run by
Mavericks.
Michael Jordan, a brain dead fuck as an
Well,
owner, so I wouldn't be
exactly
surprised.
though. The Charlotte Hornets, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets.
I wouldn't see the
I
Houston
don't think
Rockets.
Dallas would. I don't see Dallas doing it.
I don't see Houston Rockets, especially with Jalen Green and just signing Kevin Porter. I just don't see them bringing that guy into the mix. I feel like they're going through the rebuild the right way. They're okay with losing as long as it just brings in young guys who are gonna work together and kind of grow. But Mavericks, I guess I could see because they're just desperate to bring in another like
Ball
star
handler.
power kind of guy next to Luca and kind of take the pressure off him. Like I guess you're gonna say like a ball handler
Hmm.
to get Luca off the ball. But it's just hard for me to see them giving any true assets like for Ben Simmons. Like, and obviously, like you mentioned, Nets would want one.
They kind of gave most of their assets in that. Like, they didn't really give them much, but like they were limited and they barely got the Christian Wood trade done. Like, I don't think there's anything that they'd willingly give up for Simmons.
But now that would contradict what I said in the beginning because I was like maybe the Nets are gonna view him highly and that's for a lot. But
Can I just point something out really quick?
point things are.
This is not a team that would trade for him, but I just want to point out a player on this team for a specific reason.
Can I guess the team that player's on?
Yes.
Is it the Timberwolves?
No.
Okay.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Talk to me.
They have a player that's averaging 14.8 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Now, I'm not saying I'm not pointing out this player because OKC should trade this player for Ben Simmons. I'm saying this is what Ben Simmons should be doing at minimum. That's second year player Josh Giddey. Those are the
Woo.
numbers he's putting up. That is the bare goddamn minimum of what we expect from you, Ben Simmons. And I just find it funny because honestly, I look at Josh Giddey, 6'8", skills like a guard.
Handsome as fuck.
Absolutely. Does that sound familiar to you boys? Oh, gee, it's Ben Simmons when he came out.
But not
And,
handsome though.
and
Not handsome.
oh, nowhere near, oh, nowhere
Yeah.
near it. Oh, no, he's the uglier version of the Mona Lisa. But,
Jeez.
but Josh Giddey, the thing with Josh Giddey is he has taken steps in trying to improve as a shooter. He's up from 42% to 46%. He was 26% from three last year. Now he's just shy above 31.5%, so going towards 32, and just under 71% from his free throws last year, about 73% this year. He's taken leaps. His assist is a little bit down, but OKC's tanking, so I can forgive him for that. Josh Giddey is improving, and this is a guy that honestly, it's funny because the two of them, I don't know if I think Josh Giddey himself is Australian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you got two Australian point forward caliber players, and one of them is taking steps and showing to be a great young piece for a franchise, and the other one is Ben Simmons. It's like honestly, it's kind of like it literally just the thought hit me while we were talking about this. I'm like, oh, OKC has Josh Giddey. Oh, Josh Giddey is pretty comparable to Simmons. Oh, this is what Ben Simmons should be doing on an off day. The numbers I just shared to you, 14, 7, and 5, that should be Ben Simmons on a bad day. That should be Ben Simmons on a bad day. That was him his rookie season, essentially. And like those were essentially his numbers. Maybe flip the assist and the rebounds. Actually, no, not even. But that's what it should be. And what has he done this season? The most disappointing player in the NBA. He's got 5.8 points, 6.1 rebounds, 5.6 assists. Garbage, absolute garbage. So to answer your question, Chris, nobody will want this dude. No one would waste their time with this dude. He's not worth it. When his contract is eventually runs out or is terminated early, um, I,
Terminated.
I hope so. I hope he just goes playing the NBL as the rest of his career because like you're not cut out for it. We've said it about players on this podcast before. We've gotten a little bit of heat and like people disagreed with us. Some guys just aren't cut out for being franchise faces. Apparently, this guy's just not cut out for the NBA as a whole, and it's finally eaten him alive. So no, go. You could go to NBL, bro.
Wow. Two dudes in this podcast, Jurg and Dame. Y'all chose violence, and I love every second of it. Okay, should we move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a new segment. It's not really a new segment. We just have a segment, an MLB segment. Jurg, can you explain to the folks what we're doing with this segment?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So a very long time ago, many moons ago on this podcast, myself and Dame were given a game by Chris, and essentially Chris gave us a list of free agents in the NBA at the time hitting free agency. And basically, what Chris did was he had us go head to head and list the teams that we thought was the best possible fit for those free agents in that upcoming class. I want to say was the 2021 NBA free agency class, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. When you do a podcast for 2+ years, ladies and gentlemen, it kind of melts together. Which 2-year anniversary recently passed for us, yay! So we're going to be doing that with MLB free agency. We have about like the top 7 or 8 hitters from me and Dame's perspective. Mainly Dame, he came up with a list. I should say that. So shout out to Dame for the amazing list. He gave us like the top, I think it's 8 hitters so far that we look at, and the top 5 pitchers as well. So Chris is just going to go through the list for us. He's going to list these guys one at a time, and me and Dame are just going to run through them and give what we think are the best possible fits for both teams. And that's basically it. So Chris, I mean, you just throw out the names to us. Dame, do you want to start with the pitchers or the hitters for this?
We start with the pitchers. I feel like the hitters there's like more star power, so we can end with that.
Very, very agreed.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with the pitchers. Now, be nice with his first name, okay?
I already know you can't fucking pronounce it.
No, it's Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, I thought it was
So
going from the bottom to the top.
He could do that with the hitters.
okay, Jacob DeGrom.
Okay.
Dame, what do you think?
It's not gonna be nice to you, but I have him going to the Texas Rangers.
There has been smoke on that end, right?
I just think that he's gonna demand a record-breaking deal, and it's gonna be more than Max Scherzer's AAV, which was like 42 a year. I think he's gonna ask for something like 45 a year over like 3 or 4 years. And I just think that he's kind of over the whole Met situation. I think he wants to go somewhere else, and I think the Rangers are a good spot. They're a team that, although I wouldn't describe them as a contending team, they're a team that's really ready to spend and ready to take that next step. You saw last offseason with Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Now they're looking for that big ace or big time starting pitcher to anchor their rotation. They hired Bruce Bochy as their manager this year, and he's just not a guy you bring in if you're trying to rebuild or trying to take things slow. Like he's an old veteran manager who's won World Series, and he's ready to win now. So I think that was the biggest indicator to me that they're going to go really hard after DeGrom. Last all season, like I said, they prioritized kind of adding to their lineup. And I think this all season they're going to prioritize adding to our rotation. And there's no better way to add to your rotation this all season than adding Jacob DeGrom at the top. So I think it's going to be a record breaking deal, and I think he's going to go to Rangers.
Wow. Wow. He is crushing Chris's heart right there. Chris, I will give you a little bit of salvation. I'm going to say he stays with the Mets because if you're Steve Cohen, you need to break the bank. Like you need to break the damn bank to keep Jacob DeGrom for on this team. You spent a lot of money so far. I know it may not be the best spent money on some of these guys right now, but if the whole message to be sent is the fact that you're trying to build a team here, then you got to keep the star ace of this team that really I think would be the face of the franchise at this point. DeGrom is the guy. I think the thing that you mentioned there, I know the AAV is going to be high up there, Damon, is because the year count is low. I think you just got to eat it if you're Steve Cohen. Look, dude, you bought this team, you made money. You're trying to be a super fan. You're trying to be a man of the people here. You're trying to be a better Mets owner than previous regimes, which ain't really that high of a bar. You want to talk about high bars or low bars that you can exceed. Keeping the face of the franchise is a big piece of that. I'm just going to keep it simple. DeGrom stays with the Mets, and he's going to get that big money deal. I'd say, like you said, 45 mil a year, Dame. So if I had to give it that, like a 4-year deal, 4 years, $180 million. Let's do it.
All right. Next big name, Justin Verlander. Jerg, what do we think?
I'm also going to keep this simple and boring. I know like people are trying to start rumors and reports about Verlander could be leaving the Astros. I don't think there's any reason. Houston is where his career was revitalized. He was not looking the same when he was in Detroit. Like at the very end of his time in Detroit, remember Houston traded for him and they just went off and he went off as well. He's likely going to win now a second Cy Young since he became a Houston Astro. That might even break while we're recording this podcast because I think the awards have been breaking every couple of days now. I don't know which one it'll be today, but it might be the Cy Young. I'm gonna keep it simple. Justin
It
Verlander.
is a Cy. Sorry to interrupt. It is a Cy Young. Say it because Sandy just won it for the NL like 5 minutes ago, so they're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
announce the
So
AL real soon.
any minute now, we're gonna know that it was Justin Verlander. Congrats to Sandy Alcantara. Alcantara, by the way. Jesus. Yeah, Justin Verlander, give him a nice shiny contract, high up there, just like Max and Degrom. Like 3 years, one. I'm not going to do this for every single guy, but like just these first two, I think it's obvious. Like 3 years, 120 or $130 million for Verlander. He just helped you win another World Series. Got his first ever career World Series win, by the way, in this past World Series. Give the big money to the big man in the rotation.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you as his contract. I think he's gonna get very high AAV. I think he's gonna go around the same as Max, if not try to top him by a little bit. I don't think he's gonna top the ground, but I think he's gonna be a very similar contract to Max last offseason. However, I don't have him going back to the Astros for that reason. I just don't think the Astros are gonna go that high for AAV, especially when they have young pitchers ready to take that next step. So I have the Dodgers getting Justin Verlander. My reason being is because Walker Buehler's out for next year with Tommy John for second Tommy John, I believe. They did sign back Clayton Kershaw, but they did lose Tyler Anderson to the Angels. And last offseason, remember, it was between them and the Mets for Max Scherzer, and the Dodgers were willing to go really high in AAV, and they just lost out on him. And that was while they had guys like Walker Buehler and Tyler Anderson. But now that they lost these guys, and they lost on Max obviously last offseason, and obviously another disappointment in the playoffs, I see the Dodgers going really hard after top of the rotation kind of starter, and Justin Verlander perfectly fits that. He's a guy who's always pitched well in the postseason. He's won World Series. He's been there. He's done that. He has the experience to do that. A lot of these Dodgers starters don't. They did have that COVID year, but a lot of these starters weren't on that team or didn't have a prominent role that year.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a perfect situation for both the Dodgers and Justin Verlander. Verlander would be able to get that big contract for himself, and him and his absolutely beautiful wife and Kate Upton would be able to live in Los Angeles together and
Mm.
live a great life. So I just think it's a perfect match for these two.
Imagine doing right by your supermodel wife. Some guys could never.
She be chatting too to fans. Good for her. Stick up for your man.
She's super chill. Like she's honestly like the least stuck up model I've ever seen in terms of like a
Oh,
public
you know
persona.
her, Jerk?
Oh, come on, come on.
Oh god. All right, let's move on. Damn, let me stick with you. Carlos Rodon.
All right, so this is gonna make you happy because I haven't gone to the Mets.
Wow.
I think after missing out on Jacob DeGrom, and I think they're gonna lose Chris Bassett as well, who we're gonna get to next. I think they're gonna have a major hole in that rotation. You just can't depend on Max to anchor your rotation because he can't pitch 200 innings a year. He just can't anymore at this stage of his career. And they also did lose Talon Walker too as a free agent. They might sign him back, they might not. But that leaves so many open spots in that rotation. So I think the way Steve Cohen is, he's gonna go big fish hunting after he loses DeGrom. I just don't think Verlander's a realistic option there after the max contract. So I think Rondon is the next guy. He pitched extremely well last year in a kind of prove a year with the Giants. Uh, a lot of teams try to trade for him at the trade deadline, but the Giants just weren't willing to trade him. They thought they could still contend. And now he's in line, I think, for a mega multi-year deal. I don't think he's going to go as high as like 40 years or something, but something close to the $30 million range, 25 to 30, something like that. I think that's where his range is going to be for this contract, and I think that fits perfectly with the Mets. Obviously, they spent a lot of money last offseason, but they also have a lot of money coming off this current offseason right now. And with such a big hole in the starting rotation, I think Steve Cohen's not going to be outbid for a guy like that, especially after the top guys are off the board. And I think it'd be perfect for them. I mean, he's going to be a lefty. I don't think they have had a solid lefty starter since like Johan Santana, to be honest. So Carlos Rondon to the Mets, I think, is a perfect fit for both him and the Mets.
Nice, nice. I too have him leaving the Giants. He's definitely not going to stay. I think he probably already opted out, but he's definitely going to get some good money. I too have him going to the East Coast, and I do have him signing in New York, but not with the Mets. I actually have him signing with the Yankees. Um, I'm expect. I look.
Oh, very
You
optimistic of you.
look, Dame. I want someone on this podcast that cheers for a New York team to have some happiness in their life, and the Yankees are our best shot. Because Chris decided not to be a Rangers fan for hockey. Anyways, when it comes to the Yankees, I think there is a window here. I think there should be a window here, and I'm always the one to that you got to take advantage. Look, you're the Steinbrenner name is there. The Steinbrenner fortune is there. Baby Steinbrenner, do your job. Cashman, do your job and get some help. I correct me if I'm wrong, Dame. I think just about the main pitching rotation on the Yankees is mainly right-handers. So this is a similar thing in terms of bringing a left-handed guy. You pay this guy. He's not going to demand, like you said, the $40+ million. He's not. He's probably not going to get paid as much as Garrett Cole. But if he can be that solid, like number two in this rotation behind Garrett Cole, this is what I like whenever teams bring in good starting pitchers. It forces the other guys down in the lineup. So instead of, I'm not saying he would be the number two next year, but let's say Severino. Let's say Severino was pitching great and he could become the number two. Now he's going to be your number three. Now the next guy's going to be from 3 to 4. It just makes your starting rotation that much better by getting a guy like this. So I'm going to have Carlos Rodon go to the New York Yankees. Big money deal, too. Big money.
I want to
Yeah,
throw
big
up.
money and Yankees don't fit together anymore.
Hey, this could be the Renaissance, baby.
Jerry, let me stick with you. Chris Bassett, talk to me.
I have him staying in the East, but not in the NL. I have him going to the AL. I have him going to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think last year, the news is most likely Hyunjin Ryu. It's not looking good. He might miss all of 2022 because he got Tommy John surgery, and he got it like midway or late June. And Tommy John takes a year to 18 months. If there are any setbacks, he's going to miss the entirety of all of next season. If not, he might come back at the end, and you don't know what he's going to be like. Alek Manoah looked fine. No, he not fine. He was great last year. But he needs to prove that it's not just a 1 year thing because we're seeing a lot of like 1 year wonders in the MLB, especially pitching wise, Marlins. And you need to see if this guy can actually prove himself. The rest of the rotation, like Gossman was pretty good last year. Jose Barrios should have been better, which was disappointing. You bring in a guy like a Chris Bassett, him and Barrios can take turns being the 3 and the 4. I think it just solidifies that rotation again, especially with Hyunjin Ryu being out. If he was going to come back at the start of next year, I probably would have picked a different team. But him being out, you get a guy like him. It's not going to be that expensive of a contract as well. But you could spend a little bit of money still if you're the Blue Jays. Your biggest deals that you got to pay soon aren't up yet. So you still have a little bit of time here. Try to take advantage of the window you have. I say Chris Bassett to the Toronto Blue Jays, especially after last year's disappointing playoff flame out. They got to do something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Chris Bassett going to the San Francisco Giants. I think after losing a little swap here of teams, I just noticed that, but after losing Carlos Rondon to the Mets, I think they're gonna have an opening in their rotation. They're just not a team that's ready that wants to rebuild it, and really never have. They kind of just retool and just go with it and get the most out of their players. I think that's what happened a couple years ago. So I think Chris Bassett here would be really good, a really good fit. I don't know if he'd be their ace, depending on how their offseason goes and how their pitchers develop. Oh no, he probably wouldn't be with Logan Webb there, but he'd be at the top of rotation 2 or 3 for sure. I think he'd be a really good addition. He'd be a lot cheaper than Carlos Rendon even was last year. Um, Chris Bass is a really good pitcher. He just, to me, he couldn't handle the scrutiny of playing in New York, and after having a bad start, he just wouldn't be okay with the media and the fans just kind of ripping him and just forgetting about his good starts. But I think he's a really good pitcher, really solid pitcher in the middle of the rotation. I think he'd be really good for the Giants, especially after losing out on Carlos Rendon.
All right, Dame, let me stick with you. Jameson Tyone.
So former Yankee, obviously, this past year for the past couple of years. I think he was really good on the Yankees and the rotation kind of guy. I think he even pitched as a top rotation kind of guy a lot of games. People just didn't appreciate it, but I haven't leaving the Yankees because I just am a firm believer that the Yankees just won't be paying anybody this offseason. But I haven't gone to the Twins here. I think the Twins this is kind of spoiled, but I think they're going to lose out on Carlos Correa this offseason, so they kind of have money available. I think their lineup is good enough to kind of get by, but their rotation is usually where they struggle at for the past few seasons, to be honest. I think adding a guy like Jameson Tyone, it won't take up your entire payroll with guys like DeGrom, Verlander, Rondon, but he's going to be a solid guy that will give you performances like those guys sometimes, and sometimes he won't, but he'll be able to throw you 180 innings. He'll be able to eat up a lot of innings sometimes, and he'll keep you in ball games. He won't maybe win you a lot of ball games. Sometimes he will, sometimes he won't. But he'll definitely be able to keep you in ball games. He won't be like most of your pitchers are right now, where they kind of throw you out of ball games and you expect your offense to score like 7 or 8 runs a lot of the times. So I think this would be a very solid signing for the Minnesota Twins. I think Jameson Taillon will get a nice contract from them as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. Even though he's not that like held in that high of a regard, Dame, he's going to be sought after because some teams know they're not going to get the top guys, right? Some like there are teams that automatically know, all right, not going to bother with DeGrom, not going to bother with Verlander, and some teams may not even bother with Rodon. So it's that next tier of guys that are going to get a lot of suitors. Actually, like believe it or not, like it's not always the top free agents, Dame, that get like everyone going after them. It's going to be guys like Bassett and Tyone that honestly, like 10 to 12 teams are going to call for both of them. So for him, I definitely like the twin selection. I don't think that's too bad. I'm actually going to go with the Phillies. I think there are still questions about that pitching rotation. And yes, they made the World Series, and yes, they might try to keep one or two of those guys. But you got to remember here that there is a thing called the championship tax, and normally that's for the teams that won the championship, but it could sometimes happen for teams that made it to the championship series but lost it. I think that the Phillies, there's going to be some shuffling of the deck there when it comes to the pitching rotation. And I think Tayo can be there, be that solid number 3 starter in the middle of the rotation. I think he'd be a great bridge for the top 2 guys on that team versus the rest of the rotation. Of course, depending on who they keep, I think he'd be a very good selection there for Philly. And like you said, he doesn't need to be the most expensive guy. He might get a little bit more than most are expecting because like there will be some heavy bidding, I feel, but I think him to the Phillies would make a lot of sense there in that regard. Yeah, that's my opinion on that. That finishes up the starting pitchers. Dame, we mainly just focus on starting pitchers. We're not going to go too in the weeds on relievers. I just want to hear your opinion on one guy in the relieving core because we know Edwin Diaz got signed. In terms of closers, Jensen, where do you think Kenley Jensen could end up going?
I think he go back to the Braves. I think he was really successful there. Obviously he had his struggles with the Dodgers his last year there, but going back to the Braves, I think he found a home there. He was very successful. The team obviously was very successful winning that division. I think it was very big part of it. I don't know how much he's going to get paid because this was kind of a prove it deal, 1 year deal. And the Braves are usually good with their contracts, honestly. So I don't think they're going to overpay, but clearly they need to uh, improve. If anything, they need to improve is their bullpen, and definitely losing a guy like Jensen isn't going to help that. Need to bring him back and kind of add on top of that. So I see him going back to the Braves is a perfect fit.
Will be interesting to say at the very least. And the Braves are going to come up in conversation later on because they do have a guy that's hitting free agency here that some people are shocked that they're going to be allowing him to hit free agency. While I do agree with the logic, I actually don't really see him staying in Atlanta. I feel like they like the 1 year, and I feel like they're going to try to get more value out of somebody else. I actually, because I don't think, like, yes, I know they cut him, but I don't think there was any ill will, and maybe it would take some real reworking. I mean, if you want to talk about the Dodgers spending, I could see them wanting Jensen back. He was a steady hand last year for the Braves. I think especially in the playoffs and late in the season, I think it really showed. I think they needed a real closer again. I could see them bringing him back. I don't think there was any ill will when he ended up leaving there, so I could see him returning, especially if they pay him a decent chunk of change. So I have Jensen and a reunion with the Dodgers, baby.
All right. Let's move on over to some hitters. The hitters. Okay. Jurg, Wilson Contreras.
I have him staying in the NL Central, leaving the Chicago Cubs, and going to the St. Louis Cardinals. I think this is a very popular pick because Yadier Molina retired, and people are like, "Oh, who's the next catcher?" And some people might think it might be internal. I think the Cardinals have a little bit of a window here because you have Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado. I think you need to try to take advantage of that while you have it because you have those two guys who are still both performing at a high level. One, if not both of them, were in MVP conversation at various points this season. I know Goldschmidt is one of the definitive final candidates for the NL MVP award. You need to keep building up this team. I know the Cardinals are not necessarily like a big money spending team, but I could see them not breaking the bank. I don't think he'll break the bank for Contreras, but he's a good stopgap for replacing Yachty. He's a good home run hitter. He's hit at least 20 home runs. I want to say 4 times in his career, so he could swing a little bit. I think that it just makes sense. You're losing your all time Hall of Fame catcher. Bring in someone who don't risk it on a prospect that you're 50-50 on if you just don't have faith in the farm system. Look down the line, a draft or two from now and drafting your next straight catcher, or maybe if there's someone down there, let them let them gestate a little bit longer in the minors, and let's just go. Let's get the right guy who can be there now. Contreras to the Cards.
I'm gonna have him going to the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros push hard for him at the trade deadline. They just couldn't get anything done. And I think, obviously, like I predicted, they're going to lose Justin Verlander, so they're going to have some money to spend. I don't think they're going to use it on pitching because I think they do have enough pitching depth in their minor leagues. I forgot the guy's name that they brought up that was literally, they showed side by side of him and Verlander, and he was identical. But I think with the money they're going to spend, I think they're going to use it on a catcher. I think Wilson Contreras is a perfect fit there. They've been missing a hitting catcher, a guy at the catcher position who can hit for so long, and they've been looking to add one. They had Martin Maldonado there, who's an incredible defensive catcher and works great with pitchers, but I think they're trying to extend that lineup, although that lineup is so good at the top. But once you get to like the 6, 7, 8, 9, it's kind of slow. And I think they're going to try to add another guy there to extend that lineup and make it harder for pitchers to go against. I think Wilson Contreras is arguably the best hitting catcher in the whole entire league. And he's a great defensive catcher, too. It's not like you're going to have a big drop off from Maldonado to him. But this is a guy you're going to be able to throw out there every single day at a catcher, and you're going to get solid offensive production from him as well, which is hard to come by catchers in the league at this time.
All right, Dame. Sticking with you. Jose Abreu. Talk to me.
So you're going to like this as well. I have him going to the Mets. I think the Mets have been
Yes.
lacking that kind of veteran hitter that can just flat out hit for a while now. And now that they have a DH in the National League, I think this is a perfect fit. You can obviously rotate him and Pete Alonso at first in DH, but this is a guy who always hits around 300, hits for power, something that the Mets lack. Although the Mets were a pretty good hitting team this year, they always got on base, they always move guys over, stuff like that. They didn't strike out often. They missed that kind of power bat in the middle of the lineup that when they aren't hitting for hits or moving guys over, that they can just get a bloop and a blast and kind of get 2 or 3 runs just off one swing of the bat. So I think putting him right in the middle of that lineup at the 3 or 4 spot, I think it'd be great. He's always been known for getting guys in RBIs. He's always at the top of the leaderboard at that category. And obviously he's a great veteran presence as well. So I think putting him right in that Mets locker room and that lineup would be great for that Mets team.
Ironically enough, I'm taking Dame's previous team here. I'm going with the Houston Astros to get Jose Abreu. Houston Astros to get Jose Abreu. Stumbling over my words today. Simply put, look, the Dodgers couldn't get it done. The Braves couldn't get it done. Houston, yes, this is your second World Series in the span of 6 years. I know me and Chris a couple weeks back, we went over the Astros dominant in the AL, Chris, with their 4 World Series appearances recently. Look, right now, this right here is the time you really want to solidify yourself even further. A 5th World Series in 7 years and a 3rd championship, and you repeat. That is dynasty type stuff right there. I'll go all in. That's why I have him keeping Verlander. That's why I have him getting Jose Abreu here. He could split time between first base or DH, depending on what they want to do between him and Yordan Alvarez, because Yordan doesn't even play first base every single day as well. And Jose Abreu is a former MVP, actually. He won the MVP in the 2020 season. Now, yes, COVID shortened, of course, but he still won an MVP award. So let's get him in there. Let's gear up Houston. Make this happen for yourself. Make this happen for your franchise and for your city. Go for the repeat. I got Jose Abreu to the Astros.
Okay. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. One's poverty, one's royalty. All right. Let's move on over to, well, speaking of the Schmets, Brandon Nimmo. Jerg, talk to me.
I have him leaving the Mets, Chris. I'm sorry. Um, I have a team that has made some, that already made an addition to, within the last 24, 48 hours to their outfield. I have them getting another veteran as well. The Seattle Mariners acquired Teoscar Hernandez from the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's get another veteran to round out the outfield. With two of your three outfielders will be new. I think it's both good veterans, both good hitters. And you can also play around with the DH, depending on the situation as well. I love lineup flexibility in Major League Baseball. Give me Brendan Nimmo to the Seattle Mariners. It's Seattle, they have a couple contracts there, so I don't think they're going to go for anyone big time. But Brendan Nimmo to me is that borderline player who you may have to pay a pretty penny for, but you're getting a lot of good stuff there. Decent, solid power, good for contact, bat. I think he's just a great locker room guy. And you saw the energy that, like, the Mariners fed off of energy last year. I think Brendan Nimmo is a great guy to bring into that locker room specifically. Give me Brendan Nimmo to the Seattle Mariners and them trying to make a little bit of a push here in the AL now that they have some momentum again.
Yeah, I have him leaving the Mets as well. I'm going to the Colorado Rockies. There already was an early off-season report that the Rockies already pay a lot of money for him. I think it was like 5 for 120, which I think, or 5 for 140, something like that. I just know it was absurd because when I looked at it, I was like, the Mets better hope they don't sign it for that much. I think Brandon was a very solid player, but I just don't think he's worth anything 20 million or up, and I think that's what he's going to get paid. The Rockies are just a team that I just see spending money on a guy like Nimmo just to put the top of the lineup. You get on base, he steals bases. He's absolutely an improved defender. I think there's going to be a very good fit there. I think he's obviously playing Colorado. That also boosts your hitting numbers. He probably hit for more power as well. And just the money aspect, I think Brandon was most likely going to go where the money's at. He's a guy that wasn't drafted high, hasn't made a lot of money in his career, so I think he's going to go where the money's at. And I think that's going to be where Colorado is, and I think that's where he's going to sign.
Another offseason of really paying a lot of money for a guy because they really paid Chris Bryant last year too.
Yeah.
All right, Dame, let me stick with you. Xander Bogarts.
So now we get to the fun part with the big shortstop class. I think this is Xander Bogarts. I think is the worst of all of them, but I think he's going to go to the St. Louis Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be in on all the other top shortstops like Carlos Correa, Turner, and Swanson. But I think they'll miss out on those guys, and I think although I guess it's a kind of plan B, plan C. I think Xander Bogaerts is an extremely good player. I think he was third in the AL in batting average. He hits for power. He gets guys in. He's not that great of a defender, but he's solid. He's not bad. So I think the Cardinals are ready to spend money. Put him right next to Arenado on that left side of that infield. I think that's going to be amazing for them. Putting him right in that lineup with Arenado and Goldschmidt and all these other guys they have there, I think it'd be great for them. They're ready to spend some money, like I said. I wouldn't be surprised if they get one of these other shortstops, but I think Xander Bogaerts will probably be the cheapest of the other compared to the other three. I think it'd be a great fit there in St. Louis.
Chris, can I cheat a little bit and also go with the next player after because mine actually link here?
Oh, sure, go ahead, and then we could segue, and then Dame, you could respond.
Yeah.
Cool. So my two connect because you mentioned we talked a little bit about the Braves here, Dame. I've seen a lot of conversation. I think the logic makes a lot of sense that normally the Braves lock in their guys a lot earlier than what they have, and the fact that Dansby Swanson is going to be allowed to hit unrestricted free agency kind of shows a little bit of writing on the wall. I think he's going to be leaving Atlanta, so they need a shortstop to fill in. So I have Xander Bogaerts when Swanson eventually is signed away, signing with the Atlanta Braves. Like you said, he's a fine player. He's got a pretty good glove. He hits a little bit well. I think it's been very weird to me why the Boston Red Sox didn't make it a point to really keep him. I know there's been a lot of like shuffling of the deck and changing things up in Boston the last couple of years, but I don't understand. I think Bogarts and Devers were a very, very good couple of guys there, along with some of the old. I don't want to call them old, but some of the other guys in that core to be able to keep. I think the fact they're getting rid of him, like I don't think it bodes well. I don't think they're going to be that competitive this year. I mean, they proved us wrong last year, but then again, they were terrible this year. So they've really been going up and down. I think Atlanta's going to get him. He's a solid guy to replace Swanson in the lineup when they do eventually lose him. And I think it's a similar thing to. Jesus Christ. It's a similar thing to when they lost Freddie Freeman last year and they replaced him with, God, I'm blanking on the guy. Was it Chapman or Olsen who went to the Braves, Dame? I forget.
Olsen.
Olsen.
Oh, Chapman went to the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays, right? Yeah, I confuse the two of them all the time. I apologize. But yeah, I have Bogarts going there. And where do I have Dansby Swanson going? Because that's the next guy on the list, ladies and gentlemen. I have him going to, for back-to-back years, the Dodgers poach an Atlanta Brave. I have him going to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Should the Dodgers go after pitching? Yes. Will it surprise me if they get one of the top 5 pitchers that we stated? No. But I also think, look, they got money to burn, and the fact that they did not win the World Series this year, I think it's still staying. I think they love spending money, and why not spend it on a Dansby Swanson? I know they have Gavin Lux there, but he's predominantly played at second base so far in the short time we've seen him. I don't think there's necessarily like, and he's not a guy who I'm like, you know what, you're going to play shortstop no matter what. We're not going to move you. No, 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 no. He's going to be moved permanently to second base with us getting Dansby Swanson in there. Good hitter, good defensive player, great guy. A guy Freddie Freeman knows. I think a guy Freddie Freeman would probably vouch for the Dodgers to potentially get here. Let's get Dansby Swanson in this locker room. Let's get him in LA. And yes, they do still need a little bit of pitching. So that's why I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if they end up, not going after a hitter, but maybe more so a pitcher. But let's try to set things up to try to get another championship here. Try to get Kershaw another ring. Try to get some of these guys who, like you mentioned, Dave, not all of them were that big of a role in 2020. This is there is a bit of a roster turnover happening in LA, and this could be a part of it. Dansby Swanson to the Dodgers.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have Dansby Swanson leaving the Braves as well. It's kind of like you mentioned; they always lock up their young guys. And a report just came out, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, that they're now looking to add anybody $30 million and up, as their annual average salary. And I think that's what Dansby Swanson's gonna get. Great defender. He's obviously proven that he can win and hit in the big spots. He's a great hitter, great locker room guy. I have him going to the Giants. I think the Giants are going to miss out. I'm mentioning them again, but I think they'll miss out on another free agent we are going to still mention. I think they're ready to spend big. Obviously, they're gonna. I have them spending on Chris Bassett at the top of rotation, but I think they're going to look to add a big time hitter as well to put in that lineup. And they've been looking to add a shortstop for the past few off seasons, and really a big time hitter. They've been all the way going back to when Bryce Harper was a free agent. They were recruiting him hard then, and since then they've been kind of trying to open the payroll to add a big time hitter in the middle of that lineup. I think Dansby Swanson's a perfect guy at the shortstop position. Put him at the top of the lineup, put him at the 3 hole, cleanup hitter. It doesn't matter. You can put him wherever you want in the lineup. And like I said, he's going to play great defense. He's going to be a great leader in that clubhouse, and I think he's just a perfect fit for the Giants.
Sticking with you, Dame. Trey Turner.
So Trey Turner is a guy I would love for my Yankees to sign. I mean, this is a guy who hits for 300 each and every single year. He doesn't strike out. At the same time, although he does hit for 320, whatever it may be, over 300, he hits for power as well. It's not like he's just a singles guy. And when he gets on base, man, he can go from first to third on 2 pitches. The way he steals bases, he plays incredible defense as well as shortstop. He could play second base. He could play center field. He can play so many different positions. I think this guy would be perfect for my Yankees. However, clearly the Yankees just don't are allergic to winning, allergic to spending. I haven't gone to the Philadelphia Phillies. There's been a few reports already of him going there and how they even might be the favorite. He has a great relationship with Bryce Harper with their time in Washington when they play on the Nationals. I think the Phillies also are another team that have been really kind of looking to spend on the big guy. I think shortstop is really that missing piece in that lineup and that offense, and I think they've been kind of rotating guys each and every for the past few seasons. I think putting Trey Turner right there with a team that just won a World Series is going to take this lineup to a whole nother level. The speed element that Trey Turner brings to bring to that Phillies lineup is something I don't think they have. The guys like Kyle Schwarber, Castellanos, Bohm, Harper, these guys aren't really fast guys that could cause havoc on the base pass. I think that's exactly what Trey Turner is, and I think he'd be a beautiful fit there in Philly.
I don't blame it, and to be honest, I think that is ultimately where he will go in real life. But if I have to be a little bit different, because Dame brought up the Colorado Rockies before as a lower tiered team that's not necessarily going to do great this season, but that's going to spend a little bit of money. I've been seeing and reading a lot of reports here that the Chicago Cubs are going to try to go after one of these like better named players, maybe not the top of the top, but maybe a guy if they could give him enough money to go there and be a building block to transition. Well, I have them doing that. I think that they will be willing to spend a good chunk of money here to get Trey Turner. I think he slots in. I know they have a young shortstop that played this past season. I think Nico Horner is his name. So you wouldn't need to try to figure out the things here. Maybe you could Trey Turner slot into being the second baseman, or maybe you make the young kid do it. At the end of the day, like I read it and I was kind of skeptical at first, but then it kind of made sense to me. Like the lower tiered teams, I know I'm trying not to just say they suck, but teams that suck Let's be real. They need to spend a little bit of money. I think like you're seeing it with some of these teams that are spending money. And I think the Chicago Cubs will be a team that throws in a bid here for a Trey Turner. Uh, will he necessarily go there? Probably not. I think he would like that mix of money and success, which is why I more so agree with Dame. But just to be a little bit different here, and I have read like not real rumors and reports like pointing it, but like just logic would dictate Chicago could end up doing this with one of these free agents here. I would say Trey Turner to the Chicago Cubs just to make it interesting. Why not?
All right, fellas. Jerg, let me stick with you. Carlos Correa.
This is where I have a certain West Coast team we've brought up a couple times that, they want to make a big splash. I have Carlos Correa to the San Francisco Giants. The Giants will need to work on their pitching rotation a little bit, and we know they want to go big game hunting because there's one more guy on this list that we know they're going to be in the conversation for. But at the end of the day, I feel that they're going to have to settle for the next guy. Carlos Correa, look, he bet on himself. He won that bet when he came to the deal with the Minnesota Twins. He's going to get good money this offseason. I think the San Francisco Giants will do it. This isn't a case where with some of these teams where you need to worry about positions. Look, Brendan Crawford is old. He very regret. 2021 was an aberration. He was regressing now, and we know he's not the same player he was in his younger years, especially during their championship years. They need more star power. They need more guys. They should probably try to do that more so in the pitching because they're about to lose Gossman and Rodon in back-to-back off seasons. But where you try to make up for the pitching maybe in certain different ways. Let's get a big time hitter in there. Let's get a big time name. Let's get a talented shortstop in there. Be the key face for the next wave of this franchise, trying to get success in the NL again. Let's go Carlos Correa to the San Francisco Giants, boys. And he's still going to get paid a very, very handsome amount of money. So money, San Francisco compared to Minnesota. Come on now, Carlos. It's easy.
Seems like we just have these shortstops going to the same four teams, just different spots. I have Carlos Correa going to the Chicago Cubs. I think
Oh,
that's
wow.
the missing team here of teams we mentioned that haven't got a shortstop. I think Cubs have already met with all these top shortstops this early in the process. Although they are kind of still rebuilding, they did sign Marcus Stroman, I think, last offseason to a pretty good contract. So it's not like they're fully trying to just tank and not try to be competitive and not try to improve their team. Uh, they just know they're not there yet. And I think this offseason, adding a guy like Carlos Correa, I think could kind of expedite that process and try to make the team a lot better than it is. Nico Hordem, obviously, was a really good player for them this offseason, but they could easily side him over to second base or something like that when you bring a guy like Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is an incredible leader, although he was part of the biggest cheating scandal in baseball. He's a scumbag for that. I think he's matured since then. I think he's obviously built for the moment. Chicago, big city. I don't know if they're gonna be in playoffs the first year he gets there, but I think eventually, early on in his contract, I think he'll get there. They'll get there, and when they get there, this guy always shows up. He's obviously a Gold Glover, incredible defensive shortstop, incredible hitter. His for power, his for contact, can steal bases as well. And I just think putting him there and try to expedite that rebuilding process would be great for them. And he's going to obviously make great money as well because they don't have a lot of money on the books. So I think they'll be ready to spend.
All right, main event time. And instead of going to Dame on this one, Jerg, let me start off with you. Aaron Judge.
Yep.
Where's he going and why is it the Mets?
I've been trolling Yankees fans a little bit. I do it out of love, mainly for Dame and for everyone else. I try to get a reaction. Um, Aaron Judge could very much leave. I think he should become the highest paid player in all of baseball on his next contract. I think he's deserved it. I think he's been underpaid for a while. And the season he just had, look, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, all these guys getting 300, 330, 340. J Rod in Seattle, Fernando Tatis, they got their contracts. None of them had a season like Aaron Judge before their contracts. If Aaron Judge is not a $450 to $500 million player, I would call for collusion. Honestly, if he's not paid $500 million on this contract alone, I would call for collusion for Major League Baseball because that is some hot steaming bullshit right there. If he's not, so what team has some pretty big pockets? Look, man, I said this logic with the Mets. I'm going to say with the Yankees, you cannot screw this up. This guy is the best chance that you have of A, staying in the tier where you're at now, and B, getting to a World Series and potentially winning it. Aaron Judge stays with the New York Yankees on a big, you could decide the years. I don't care. You could pay it. You're the Steinbrenner family, for God's sakes. $500 million. Make it easy. Blank check this man for the season he just had. Aaron Judge staying in the Big Apple.
So yeah, actually, this is literally the only free agent I think the Yankees are going to sign. Even if they have to go on the field with 18 guys instead of 26 because of their payroll budget, I think that's what they're going to do. I have Aaron Judge going back to the Yankees. I just think there's no reason for him to leave, and I think there's just too much pressure on the Yankees to let him walk. The fans are absolutely obsessed with this guy. They literally built this guy, Judge's Chambers, in right field after like a year before he was really Aaron Judge. Um, I think the Yankees fans would really blow up Yankee Stadium or set it on fire, or Hal Steinbrenner's house on fire. They'll find it somehow and just honestly assassinate him if he lets Aaron Judge go. I just think that's how passionate Yankee fans are and how much they love Aaron Judge. And as for Aaron Judge, like, why would you want to leave New York? Like, you see how big of a star you are. Um, even when he didn't have a 62 home run season, like, this guy was still a stud. He was being argued as the face of the league just because how like big he is, 6'8", 250. Like, he's just such an intimidating presence, and just putting on those pinstripes, you could argue he is the face of the league. So that makes him a lot of money off the field, and obviously, no matter what, like, the Yankees are going to be able to pay him. They're going to be paying him around $40 million a year, I think. Although personally, I think it's overpay, but it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. The guy earned it. And yeah, he's comfortable here. He's played here for all his entire career. He's obviously, like I said, has a Judge's Chambers. He has an entire fan base after him, and he's probably going to be named the captain as well, which is an incredible honor to be a Yankee captain. Like, that goes down in history. If you see all the Yankees captains throughout their entire franchise's history, it's an incredible honor. So I just see no reason for him to want to leave outside of money. I just don't think that'll be an issue for just Aaron Judge. Yeah, I just think it's a perfect fit. I just don't see either side really wanting to end this marriage.
Fellas, that was a great segment, but we move on over to our last one, which is the Clowns and Crowns segment of NFL Week 10. A
Whoop.
weekly segment, by the way.
Best part of the show.
Yes, yes. All right, we're going to start off with the clowns because that's what we do here. And clowns identify other clowns. All right, now, who wants to go first? You know what? Let me go first because I
Yeah,
have
okay.
something personal to go on about. Now, I could put myself in this, and I'll tell you why in a few. I'm gonna go John Wolford, who was the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams this past week. He filled in for Matt Stafford because he got concussed in practice. I don't know what he was doing, but this piece of shit, this sack of garbage, threw a pass so high to Cooper Kupp, which led him getting his ankle chopped off. I don't know who was it on the Cardinals that, like, it was kind of a dirty play. I'm not gonna lie. Who was it on the Cardinals that, like, tackled him?
I
I
don't
can't even
Whatever.
remember.
name the guy.
He
I
threw
apologize.
a garbage pass that led to Cooper Kupp being tackled, but then again, the tackle led to a leg injury, a high ankle sprain that now requires surgery. Cooper Kupp is out for at least 4 to 6 weeks, likely going to be shut down for the season. I had Cooper Kupp in my fantasy team. Aside from that, Cooper Kupp is one of the NFL's best players. Love Cooper Kupp, one of my favorite players. I can speak for a lot of people when I say that. This piece of shit threw him such an awful pass. He was garbage the whole game. Kupp had like negative yards. He had like the least receptions or targets in his career this game. And he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, like I already mentioned. So this garbage piece of garbage is going to be the reason why I don't watch Cooper Kupp play football going forward. So I was a little personal there. I was going to put the Dallas Cowboys for blowing that lead to the Packers, which is hilarious in such cowboy fashion. But I'm going to go with John Wolford. Fuck you, scumbag. I hope you never play again.
For the record, it was Marco Wilson, who was the Cardinals DB, who went
Went low.
yeah.
What a dirty play. Yo, what the fuck is wrong with him, man? You didn't need to go that low with it, bro. Jeez. Just fucking tackle him. Whatever, man. I'm not gonna get. I mean, I'm already angry about it. I'm already scrapping in terms of like who I could find to replace Cooper Kupp in fantasy, which is an impossible task.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jurg, who's your clown of the week?
I feel bad because I feel like I'm gonna steal Dame's here. No, I'm gonna throw it to Dame. Dame, please go first. I don't want to steal yours by chance.
Damn, I don't want to steal yours now.
No. I have two, but I don't want to I have two, so you can go, bro.
Someone
Okay.
say something.
I'm gonna go with Josh Allen.
Uh,
I don't know if I stole yours or not, but this
No,
guy's
you
a
didn't.
clown. This guy has no clutch born in his body, no clutch gene in his entire body. Over and over in his entire career, he's just shown that he can't play in the big moment, can't finish the big game. Um, People want to argue that Chiefs game in the playoffs, but I mean, the guy lost. Like, it is what you lost. You gave too much time to the actual guy who's the most clutch player in the league. Patrick Mahomes. Like this guy just can't. I don't know what it is in the big moment. He just shits his pants. Uh, he had a red zone pick in the second half of the game where he just I don't know what he was doing. I get it. You trying to make a play on fourth down, but he did throw a pick. And then at the 1 yard line when it's the end of the game, I think they had a chance to run it out, run the clock out. You would own the game. He fumbles the ball from the center at the 1 yard line and gives it back to the Vikings, who then score. I mean, that was literally boneheaded. People thought the game was over, and this guy literally all he has to do is not fumble the ball, not turn it over, and the game's over. Doesn't have to even complete a first down, and there he goes, just slip. The ball slips, can't even take it from a center. Something you do literally hundreds of times in practice throughout the week, over and over again. He still can't do it. Embarrassing. And then let's not get started in the overtime where the Vikings got the ball first. And people were like, of course, Josh Allen gets screwed with a coin toss. Well, guess what? You got the ball back, buddy. And guess what happened? You still couldn't get it done. And instead of not even getting into field goal range, you needed a touchdown, field goal to tie. You threw a pick in the red zone. You were moving the ball up the field pretty well. Not gonna lie. And then, of course, moment gets too big for poor little Josh Allen. He throws a pick right to Patrick Peterson. It wasn't even a good defensive play. Patrick Peterson was straight in front of, I think, Gabe Davis, who he was thrown to. It's like Patrick Peterson was a wide receiver on the play if you switch their jerseys. That's how badly this ball is thrown. So Josh Allen is absolutely my client of the week for literally not having a clutch bone in his body.
Wow, both of my options are still here. I'm very torn now. Uh, dang, they're both so stupid that happened this week. Oh my god. You know what? Okay, I'll go with the individual, not the team, because I feel like I go with the team a lot. I'll go with the individual. You know, guys, I've shared some history with the boys, off cam, and the boys know that in the past I've suffered with some headaches in the past, guys, and it was due to medical stuff. What is one way you guys think you could get a headache, boys? Just out of curiosity.
Watching Josh Allen
Drinking
play
too
football.
much.
Oh.
Those are both acceptable. Those are both very acceptable. Another one is headbutting football helmets constantly in a row. So my clown goes to Baker Mayfield for headbutting several teammates'
For
helmets
accelerating the CTE process.
without his own helmet. What are you doing? What the hell are you bloody doing, bro? Like you did he? Okay, because I ignore. I'm be real with you guys. I ignored Thursday Night Football last week. Did he start the game?
No. I
Did
think,
he?
did he start? I don't know.
Did he
No.
play the game?
No, I don't think he played at all.
Why the are you headbutting like you won the
Bro,
game?
he loves his team, bro. He loves his team. He's a
Get
team
out
player,
of here.
bro.
He's not going to be in the NFL after this season. Baker Mayfield, you can join Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons. You could join Ben Simmons in Australia, play for the Australian Football League if they even have one. Look, bro, that's so stupid. I'm done. I'm done with Baker Mayfield. Not at the same level, never at the same level of Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill, but Baker, look, I've been on your side so many times. I can't be on your side on this one. That was just stupid, bro.
Okay. All right, let's move on over to crowns. Look, I could speak for all of us that we could obviously pick Justin Jefferson for this one.
Oh yeah.
Right. Um,
Someone's
I'm
got to do it though. We can't just all leave him out.
so all right, I'm willing to let you guys pick. Who wants to pick Justin Jefferson?
Dame, if you want to.
Do you want to take him, Dame?
Yeah, why not? Why
Okay,
not?
yeah, and you don't have to talk about it. It was arguably the greatest catch of all time.
I think for me, it was the greatest catch I've ever seen. From the
I'm with you on
difficulty to the scenario, like the time of
that. The
the game
moment,
and how
yeah.
important the catch was, like all that put together, and the fact that there was a defender literally on him compared to like Odell, where it was wide open. I just think by far it was the greatest catch I've ever seen. And on top of that, 10 catches, 193 and a touchdown, like incredible.
That is true. I'm with you. Initially, I didn't even know he caught it. I thought,
I thought it was picked.
I thought I just saw the Vikings sideline just go off, and I'm like, oh shit, he caught it. I'm like, oh, that's how I knew he caught it, because like they just were just bugging out, and they're just like, oh shit, that game was insane. That game was insane. So yeah, I mean, we all picked Justin Jefferson, but Dame, you'll get to officially choose Justin Jefferson. Let me go, because
Okay.
I'm gonna keep mine short and simple. My crown goes to the Commanders for simply beating the Philadelphia Eagles. They end their undefeated streak. Heineke kneeled, and then they got that penalty at the end because I believe they tackled him after the whistle was blown.
Yep.
I gotta give him credit. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the way he kneeled, it was you wouldn't know that he kneeled. So it was kind of like a bait the
Yeah.
position. Like he kind of baited them, and I gotta say that was very clever, very sneaky Heineke. But Commanders are 5-5 now. Carson Wentz comes back. I say let Heineke kind of take the reins on this going forward. Fuck Carson Wentz. Um, they're 5-5. You know, NFC. You know, I think a playoff push isn't out of the realm of possibilities for these sneaky Commanders. And Chase Young's coming back as well. Come on, but yeah, Washington Commanders. You ended the Eagles' undefeated streak. Good for you. You are my crown of the week, Jerg.
I have a guy who's gotten a lot of criticism so far in his young career. He struggled, and he finally got a little bit of redemption for that touchdown drop in the touchdown he dropped in week 1. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 107
Oof.
yards, 3 touchdowns, boys. That's a young Randy Moss stat line there, by the way. No, that was big. He was the reason that they won that game. He caught all of their offensive passing touchdowns, a 58-yarder from Rodgers in the first quarter, or no, in the second quarter, excuse me, and then 2 fourth quarter touchdowns for this kid. You know, yes, it was a low catch amount. Obviously, it was just those plays, but that's I think the kind of game that can bring him back this season for a strong finish. And look, I know we've been criticizing the Packers a lot. I was of the games that we picked last week, because we tend to go unanimous on a lot of games, guys, for our NFL picks. For those of you that follow us at Somewhat.Sports, that was the game that I strongly considered picking the Packers for of the last couple of weeks. Because bro, it's death, taxes, and Aaron Rodgers owns the Dallas Cowboys. It's official. He owns the Dallas Cowboys, and he owns Mike McCarthy. So if any of you thought Mike McCarthy somehow wasn't at fault for everything that happened in Green Bay, there you go. That was the Mike McCarthy creme de la creme. He was almost my loser of the week if it wasn't for Baker Mayfield, my clown. Yeah, Christian Watson, amazing game. Good job there, Rook. Game ball for you. Crown from this show. Might be the only crown he gets this season. I'm giving him the crown anyways.
Yeah, I think all of us have had high expectations for Christian Watson. I think certainly in the pre-draft, when our mock drafts were like, yeah, Christian Watson is going to be like that guy, that wide receiver.
We had him go late in our mock,
Yeah,
no?
he went second round, right? I think we had him go in the first round, but
I think whoever had the second Packers picked him, I think.
could be Dame. I feel
Yeah,
like it was Dame.
probably.
But yeah, I think in a few years he's gonna be like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is gonna do in a few years, but like I think he's had kind of a mess start, but I think he's coming around. He's coming around. Dame, final thing for some fantasy advice. Christian Watson worth the pickup
I
on
picked him up
waivers?
this week.
I could have, but I opted not to. Because what if that's a fluke week? What if it's a
He
fluke
He
week?
plays tomorrow. He plays the Titans, who are literally like the second worst pass defense in the league. So
This,
All
this
right.
hey, this is
I wouldn't
on an
spend
NFL note. This
like
could
in
be a
my league.
disaster.
It's in my league you get a budget for free agents, so I didn't spend a lot on him. I was kind of surprised I did get him, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I was too busy being depressed about what happened to Cooper Cup. So,
Chris's fantasy season is officially over.
and I was going for a playoff push. I've had a good 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks. I had a closed doors meeting with my team. Morale's been incredibly low, but he's in the IR, but I'm not dropping him. You got to keep him there for for the spirit of the team. And plus my fantasy team is named the Coffee Cups, KUPPS. But anyway, neither here nor there.
You put yourself in that corner.
What an episode. Great show, fellas. You guys did amazing, from basketball to MLB to NFL. Just, we're hitting all the corners here. And by the way, Sunday the World Cup starts. That's
Woo.
right.
Football.
Me and Jerg's country is kind of
Never in
ass in football, so they're not in the World Cup, nor will
Ever.
they probably never will be in the World Cup for as long as we live.
Ever.
But Damien's country's in the World Cup. Poland, shout out to them. And me and Jerg, I think, a thing for Albanians is that they love rooting for Germany, and that's certainly my team in the World Cup. That's always my team in the World Cup.
Well, it's because all the freaking nations near us take our best players and have them on
It's
their
true.
national.
Looking at you, Switzerland.
So USA's winning it all. So
I will no, but yeah.
Wait. Who?
USA.
Hell no. I don't even know soccer. Hell no, they're not winning it all.
Well, I mean, no,
They're
they have a
gonna
decent team.
go
They
on
have
a
a
crazy run.
compared to like the last few years since 2014. They have a decent team, but I mean that's not a high bar. I mean, look, they're in a group with England and Wales, so who knows? But screw it. I mean, once we get to the knockout stages, I think we'll be doing our picks because like I'm kind of like a little out of tune with with what's happening in like the international teams in terms of like rankings and all of that. So I don't want to do my group stage predictions just because like I don't want to seem like an idiot. But when we get to the knockout stages, I will definitely give my picks. If you guys want to join me, that'll be cool too. We'll see when we get there. But it starts Sunday, I believe. I'm excited. You only get it once every 4 years, so it's dope to watch. It's dope to watch. All right, Dirk, we're gonna find us on the socials.
Ladies and gentlemen, for updates on soccer, because we, like Chris has kind of shown, and as Dame has clearly shown with his World Cup pick, we're not soccer experts here, but we will have soccer experts eventually on the show, at least once or twice during the World Cup, to help us out. And if you want more posts in general, you want to see our predictions, you want to see maybe will we get fantasy advice or more gambling advice, if you want all that, somewhat.sports is the way to go on our IG. We're over 100 people. Help us grow. A little bit of stagnation right now. We don't want to be like the economy, boys. We want to be boom, boom, boom. We want to go. We want to rise above. Crypto tanked, but this podcast will not. Help us get followers on IG. And, of course, subscribers on YouTube, Somewhat Space in Sports, and listeners on Spotify, Somewhat Space in Sports on Spotify. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. And listen to a show that is only going up from here. Somewhat Sports is actually going to go, unlike what Doge did, to the moon and beyond.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to respond to that, but yeah. Yeah, phenomenal job as always, fellas. Y'all did awesome. To all of our listeners listening, if you made it this far, we appreciate you. And until next time, peace.